don't get lazy. AI is a great tool. It can increase your productivity, increase your results, but you still need to be in the mix and managing it. If you get lazy with AI, you can have the same vanilla marketing message that everyone else out there has using AI.
We have AI, we're worth $1 billion. No, you just use ChatGPT, you gave it a system prompt and anybody can code it in a day.
I'm going to be a millionaire, when I grow up. Like, that was my goal. I want to be a millionaire, right? I reached that goal. What am I still doing working 80 hours? I'm a multimillionaire. Why am I working 80 hours a week? Like, this is crazy. I had this weird anxiety inside of me. And the only way I was feeling it was with work. What's the 20% that's giving us 80% results? You put them on a text strip campaign, we know for a fact it's significantly better. We got a 90-second open rate with text messaging. You increase your conversion rate by 900%.
You're supposed to be in the mess. Everybody makes it look perfect, but even the companies that look perfect still have show going on.
If you want to have the best version of your company, you want to have the best results, you need to be the best version of yourself.
I started my career at 14 years old. I would say even 13. I had an interest in development and started there and just out of the comfort of my home, started building websites and doing things for myself. And at 14, 15, I started learning out, hey, I can actually make money with this. Because I was helping people online and suddenly people came like, hey, Sean, you were so helpful with this, but can you help me with this small thing? It's bigger than the other one, so I'll pay you $50. I'm like, wait, you're going to pay me $50 to just to fix it? Like, it takes me half an hour. Hell yes, I'll do that. No problem. And then from there, the ball started rolling, right? And I did this next to school, obviously, what do? You start not going to school, you start skipping school, you just have fun because you're making money. So I went to, started my first company at 17, had my fair share of setbacks, bro. I got kicked out of my house. I had zero money left and was able to also climb myself back up. But here's the thing. I'm starting this podcast for one reason, and that is to give back a little bit. I have my entrance into whether you call it success, whether you call it happiness, whether you call it career, started at 14, 13 when I started helping people because they gave me something back. So what I'd like to do right now is, this podcast is about how can I give something back to somebody else? How can I, again, share knowledge I have? I have other knowledge that I had before. I think podcasting is a great medium to do. So that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm happy to have you as a guest. So that's my little intro, but I'm intro yourself and let's go from there.
Yeah, man. Love it. Yeah. Great stories. Love talking with entrepreneurs, entrepreneur myself. And I think that entrepreneurship is one of the most rewarding careers you can possibly have, or it can be the most stressful, mind-numbing career you could take. And I've done both. I've done it all in my entrepreneurship career. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about that, but so originally got into corporate America, moved up really quick in that world. And I remember thinking like success was like the business guys at the airport that were on their way to some business meeting across the country, living out of hotels and all that. And I was doing that. Problem was I was married and had 2 kids at home and I was not seeing my kids. And I didn't want my wife to be a single mother raising these kids. I wanted to be a part of my kid's life. And an early dream that I had was to be an entrepreneur so I could be there, with my family. So I ended up leaving the corporate world and started flipping houses initially. And then I had this little side thing. It was a restaurant delivery company that ended up taking off. I franchised it across 6 states before I once again realized that I had built this company to the point where I was in meetings all day, living out of hotels and not seeing my kids again, right? So you talk about like the perils of entrepreneurship. When I took a step back and kind of looked at it, I realized that I had this weird anxiety inside of me. And the only way I was feeling it was with work. Okay. And so I didn't want to delegate things off. I didn't want to automate systems. I wanted to work. And it was until I fixed that and said, no, you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you want to enjoy life, you want to be with your family, you want to do those things, you got to realize there's going to be times where you're quote unquote not doing anything. And you have to be okay with that internally. And I spent some time dealing with that and realizing that. So I sold off the food delivery company, sold to delivery.com, and started the tech side of my business. And I decided, hey, I'm going to do things differently. First and foremost, I'm going to work from home. I want to be there with my family, and I'm going to build a team around me to help scale it. Not only was I successful in this endeavor, but I had the most success because now this company was not stuck with me blocking the growth of it, right? And so it was, filling it with people around me and trusting and delegating them happened to take off. And TechStrip is one of my latest endeavors. It's a business texting company, and it's grown leaps and bounds over the last 5 years since we started.
Look, that opens up a lot of questions, but I'm going to start with the one thing that I think every person just needs to hear. You cannot do it alone, right? I think we see and we think we have to carry the world on our shoulders and we have to do it ourselves. But I mean, isn't it nice to just work from home, spend time with the kids, and also, know that things get done even if you have a day off? Because I bet your ass, like when you were 20, you could handle it all, no problem. Maybe at 30 also, but I'm 36, bro. I can't keep up I can't do 80 hours a week anymore. I can't. I get tired. I need somebody I can rely on, right?
Yeah, 100%. My goal when I was younger is success. I just want to be a successful businessman, but I always told everyone when I was younger, I'm going to be a millionaire, when I grow up. Like that was my goal. I want to be a millionaire, right? Well, I reached that goal. And then I was like, what am I still doing working 80 hours? I'm a multimillionaire. Why am I working 80 hours a week? Like, this is crazy. Right. And so for me, yes, it was great to be able to delegate it off, but I had to do that mindset shift first to say, you don't need to burn the candle at both ends. You can enjoy life and family and working from home and things like that. And yes, absolutely. It's been an incredible blessing. And one of the greatest blessings that came from the business that I've built since then is that my employees, if they choose to, they can work from home as well. And so, having phenomenal, amazing, talented individuals that are also enjoying the quality of life and being there with their family as well is really, really a cool thing to have. And I hope more companies embrace that. And it seems like they have post COVID, but I think that's an amazing thing.
I think a lot of companies haven't really had to embrace it. I think nowadays you're seeing a lot of them also coming back and kind of forcing people to come back into work. But I mean, I've been a remote guy all my life, so I'm back in it. I believe you can find, a true talent anywhere in the world. First and foremost, and second of all, you can have them work anywhere in the world as well. You have to work on some team building exercises, even though it's remote, but you can still feel like a team. Um, in terms of like setting out that first step on, like, or changing your mind, like you said it right, because initially you were just working and kind of beating yourself to death, but trying to chase, whether it's a check, whether it's ambition, career, something you're trying to fulfill. Okay, clear. Now you're realizing, hey, I I can do I can kind of can do it different. Like, what was that switch? Like when you told me you had delivery company, you sold that off, and you wanted to go into tech. TechStrip came out of that. Obviously, you want to hear a lot more about that. But what was the switch?
Yeah, absolutely. So I saw my whole family workaholics, and I looked around at what I was doing, and I was telling my employees what I was doing all day. I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I telling? Why they don't care? They don't care what I'm doing all day. I was like trying to validate the work that I
Yeah,
was, right? Like,
nowadays we have Instagram for that. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
yeah,
Yes.
but I needed like this validation and stuff. This is not normal stuff. And so it was looking in, and then fortunately I have a great wife. We've been together, um, since right after high school. So over 20 years we've been together. And one thing that we have great in our relationship is honesty. We've always had incredible honesty with each other. And she's the one that calls me out like, hey, you are the CEO of this company. Why are you working so many hours? Why are you grinding out? Like, you just sold the company and exit. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And she had to, kind of spurred that to look and go, yeah, what am I doing? So one of the early things I did on was just started tracking my activity. And now there's apps that do it. But when I started doing it, I started doing it with Notepad. like start actually looking into what am I doing? And when you start digging into it, you realize that a lot of the stuff that you're doing is just bullshit. It's just nonsense. The excess meetings, the excess emails, the follow up, the busy work. And what I realized, and I'm sure a lot of people have realized, especially if you read like the 4 Hour Work Week or one of those books, if you go through and you really start distilling down the 20% that's giving you 80% of the results, and you really start focusing and honing in on those, you can become highly effective by eliminating all of the busy work and focusing on the things that get you the best results. And ultimately I joined that with the things that I didn't want to do. I hired people to do it and they did it way better than me. And now not only do I have companies like TechStrip, but I also own a 54-acre commercial horse farm, which is on the completely opposite spectrum of things, right? I had time to write a book, Three Keys to Success, and publish this book and have been able to do all these really cool things along with running a successful business and being part there for my family as well.
And that's the interesting part, right? You hire other people to do the job, and then you just said it yourself. They did it better because they have 40 hours to do what you had to do in maybe one or two, or maybe three or four, right? Because you have so many things you have to do. So I'm always a big fan of hiring. If anybody comes to like, hey, when should I hire? My first. I always tell them, look, hire obviously when you have the cash for it. But second of all, the most important thing is who do you hire first? So I'm curious, was your first hire an operational person to take hands off, or was it a manager person to maybe give you a less cognitive load?
Yeah, yeah. So early on, gosh, I have to think some of the first ones I hired. Um, in the food delivery company, it was a dispatcher, an assistant, essentially. So if you look at like even my CFO right now, when I hired her just as my assistant. I just I got extra stuff like
Take it away. Take it away.
take it away. Yeah, it is honestly stuff I don't like doing. I don't like going through the numbers and plugging in all that stuff. I don't even like going through my emails, the paperwork, the busy work, like the stuff
Yeah,
I can
and you won't
cover.
do it good because your focus isn't there. You don't love it, so you're gonna, just get it done with.
Just get it
I hear
done
you.
with. And so she ended up just obviously doing an amazing job and in a sense, moved up in the company. Now she's a person that I rely on. Um, but then what ended up happening was she ended up taking on such a strong workload that we then had to hire people working for her. And slowly her position evolved over time. And what I personally found is rather than hiring additional assistants to work for me to stay in the assistant capacity, I started hiring high level managers, and then I would hire assistants or people to work for them directly. And that's kind of what scaled out my company. I ended up building out the C level that worked directly with me. I still have never been able to have like just like an admin assistant working directly for me. I'm a little bit too scatterbrained. So I need like that executive that can think outside the box and understand and read between the lines on what I'm telling them. And that ultimately ended up building out my C-level team. But yeah, in the beginning, it's just, hey, I got so much stuff. This is the stuff I don't want to deal with. Who can I hire that's really, really good at that type of thing?
And I guess the lesson here is that you don't build a company on your own. You do a great team of people, and you have to make sure you have the right people along for the ride, obviously.
Yeah,
And it's
100%. And the
good to
thing I would say
hear.
too is in the beginning, it's messy as hell.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
you started companies. It's interesting in the beginning, everyone always wants to look towards the finished product. They want to say, well, this is what you have now. You have marketing, it's polished product and all that stuff. But you even look at the early days of Apple and Google, and they run it out of a garage. I don't know if you've seen that original Apple computer thing they had, but it was like this wood box with wires hanging, right? Like your company in the beginning, it's going to be messy. But the difference between people that make it and are successful in entrepreneurship and the people that aren't is the people that they give up long beforehand, whereas the people that are successful just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And all of a sudden, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year later, what you have is totally different than what you had before. And all you did was just put that one foot in front of the other. It's similar to when I was writing this book. I mean, I'm not a smart guy. I'm not college educated. I'm certainly somebody who never thought they would write a book. But you know what I started doing? I just started writing. I literally just started writing. And the initial version of this book was garbage. I read it and it was terrible. But what it allowed me to do is just brain dump my ideas onto it. And then I started working with editors and we started polishing it and polishing it, polishing it. And 3 years later, we had a book that I absolutely love. And now it's something I give my employees, I can give my sons. And it makes all the difference in the world.
I love what you're saying. I think, look, if you're looking to start a business, or if you're in a situation where you can hire somebody, think about, do you need somebody to take the load off, cognitive or operational? I think that's an important thing. And don't forget that you're supposed to be in the mess. It everybody makes it look perfect, but even the companies that look perfect still have a shit show going on. I mean, let's be honest, it's the news all the time. So let's
100%.
I mean, look, we can miss a deadline. We can get angry. We can fuck up. It's just it happens everywhere. At the end of the day, it's also about how you solve how you solve a problem, right? What the attitude is, and I think a great team can fix those things. But embrace the mess when you start. I like what you said there. I really did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The main thing when you're hiring people, and I've heard different strategies. I think Steve Jobs had the beer thing where is it somebody you can go out and have a beer with? Ultimately, what I look for when I'm hiring somebody, is it somebody I trust? Is it somebody I would let like watch my kids, hang out in my house with me? Like, is it somebody I truly trust? Because a lot of the other stuff we can teach, a lot of stuff we can train. But the trust, you have to have a level of trust because that's what everything is built on top of.
Man, some wise lessons. I want to ask you some questions on growing a business, and specifically from a marketing angle. And you know, I think everybody here that's listening or is here has sent an email. We've all sent an SMS. We've all used any kind of technology. Um, the one thing I always open is an SMS. I mean, even before WhatsApp. So we also see it ourselves in any type of marketing engagement that we do. Email is it can be open, but nowadays you can't really trust the opening rate. SMS has a very solid opening rate. If I want to grow a business, and I have the luxury of using email, SMS. Let's start with, what are the core differentiators between SMS and email from your standpoint, and why should I use either of them in my business? I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. And the short answer is you should use all of them. You should really have an channel presence because they're not the same. They're different types of things. Um, so email has some really strong benefits, and the major strong benefit to email is that people can ignore it. And why is that a benefit? Well, because you can nurture leads with that. They're going to continue seeing your brand, whether they're opening it or not. And the data all shows us that they need to continue seeing your brand oftentimes before they'll engage with you. The good and the bad with text messaging is it's in your face. You can't nurture like you can with email. It's a different thing. It's in your face. You can drip, which is where text drip gets its name. You can continue to follow up with somebody, but you need to make sure that it's already a customer, somebody that's interested, or you have something really hot and exclusive that they need to know about that, right? If you don't know anything about your customer, you're just sending them text messages and they didn't ask for your text messages, that's not a good place because it's difficult to ignore. With text messaging, it has a 45% response rate compared to 6% with email. So it's a pretty significant gap there, right? Also, texting is the preferred way of communication, at least in the United States. In the United States, for adults under 50 years of age, it is the most preferred way of communication, preferred over social media, email, phone calls, and even face-to-face interactions. It's the most preferred way of communication. And so if you're using this weapon, this powerful weapon in marketing, make sure you're using it correctly, because there's absolutely a wrong way to do it. So email, once again, for nurturing them, long newsletters, information, tutorials, long form letters, they're very informative. But once you take them from that, you have somebody that's interested. Now you got them. Now you want to reel them in, right? That's where text messaging comes in because it's I've got something for you right now, and I want your response right now because they have a 90-second open rate. So when you're sending it to them, they're reading it right then and there. So you think about it in your business, if you're running some flash deal, or if this was a customer was looking at this product and this product suddenly you got a sale or something on it, that's when you want to hit them with the text message because it's relevant to them individually. You don't want to send out hey, we have this new product. Is this a good fit for you? No, that's stuff that email is done for nurturing. So, but once you identify them, you have something specific to them, then you want to hit them with the text message.
Let's operate from two sides because you have cold and warm. You could say, if I'm hearing you correctly, you could say email is very much applicable for cold, and SMS you should be a little bit more careful using it as a cold starter. However, the moment you feel there is an incentive or there's the connection and you know person has an interest, there is intent, you can start engaging with SMS. That's number one. And the second one is the moment you identify that there's maybe a need for a person and you kind of have a deal that they shouldn't miss, and you already have established connection, this is where SMS is a very big driver. For example, in e-commerce, or maybe even a house that just went on the market and it just got a new bid, for example, right? Reaching them at the right time, the right moment, making sure they are in the know of what's happening. And you reach them faster when it's SMS. So we could say SMS is when it's urgent and when you the message, like the value is high. And email is, we could see email more like maybe advertising, where it's, on social media, I can put an ad in. You have to see me a few times before you start engaging with me, with my content, and you click on it, you start visiting the page. So, and once you're there, we can start activating you with retargeting SMS, for example, or, reel you in another way. But this is kind of what I'm hearing. And please fill in anything, but
Yeah, no, absolutely. In one situation, I mean, obviously the cold outreach with email is one situation, but let's say someone goes on your website and requests information. And this is really where TextStrip came from. The old way of doing things, specifically with CRMs, was you would put them on an email drip campaign. So they would get an email, hey, schedule a call with me or purchase this product or whatever it is that your offer is. And then the email would continue to email that lead. Okay. But this is different because a customer has put a request on your website for information or they want to buy your product or whatever it is. Well, if instead of an email drip, you put them on a text drip campaign, we know for a fact it's significantly better because the data shows us we got a 90-second open rate with text messaging. And if you contact a lead within 5 minutes of them reaching out to you, you increase your conversion rate by 900%. So it's not that you sent them an email within the first 5 minutes. It's that you actually got it to them. You got their
yeah,
eyes
they
on
need to
it.
see it. Yeah, they
They
need to see it. And
see it.
that's the core difference between email and SMS from what I'm hearing from you.
And
That's
that's the
that's a
core
big,
difference.
big thing.
Yep. So just by doing that, switching your lead flow process to where they message you on their website and they're interested and they want it. If you change that to an SMS, you can increase your conversion rate by 900%. So yeah, absolutely, the results are incredible when compared to email. And so that's really where TextStrip came from was, let's take that same model, but change it from email to, once again, the 80-20 rule. That what's the 20% that's giving us 80% results? Yes, email works. Yes, phone calls work. Yes, ads work and all that. They absolutely work. But if we focus on the 20%, the weapon that's the strongest, which is SMS, are we getting better results? And all the companies that have converted over to TextStrip have found that as well.
That's a very, I love the fact when you say, if you have a signal of intent, aka the person filling in a form, whether it's a download or whether it's, I have an interest in the business, let's reach out. If that intent signal isn't enough to maybe book a meeting, but it's enough to contact them, sending an email, basically, you might have visibility in inbox, but it's going to just be swipe left and it's marked as red. Or you click on it, oh, is that company out? Because it was important for the person to fill in an information when they did, a sense of urgency was there. So SMS recreates that sense of urgency again by being visible and reminding you, hey, something important you kind of filled in. Let's see if we can connect in this. Whereas email, you kind of say, hey, this, yeah, you did it, but it wasn't that important. I feel like that's a very big differentiator in that any marketeer should know in terms of their tool usage and whether to choose SMS or email for the specific that they're using it for. That's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
And then 900%, that's crazy, bro. That's like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not just, hey, it's going to increase it by 30, 40, 50%. It's 900%. I mean, it's an alarming number. So the companies that have gone from, more of the legacy ways of doing things with an email centric CRM and switched over to TextStrip are usually blown away because they can't handle the volume of responses that they get from the leads. So that's usually the thing that we typically talk about with customers is preparedness for it. And inside TextStrip, we have a whole automation flows that will help with that. You can sort your leads by interest. We have our own internal proprietary AI system that understands if somebody's interested. And so you can have your inbox automatically sort by that. You can have automation chains by that as well. So there's different ways to handle large volume leads. But when it comes to booking appointments and things like that, like we had a company that been around since like 1950s. It's a home services company. So they've been around in business for a long time. And they typically do email and phone calls and that sort of thing, never really done SMS. They added TextStrip, came on board with a customer as a customer of ours, and overnight with their existing leads, increased their overall business by 30% overnight. 30% to a business that's established, been around since the 1950s. I mean, that's a pretty substantial growth for them by just trying a different technology.
I think I need a damn counter because I think I'm at 5 right now because the numbers are impressive. Like all the things I'm hearing is, look, I've been in marketing quite some time. An SMS on what I see is so underutilized by a lot of companies. I see it sometimes in e-commerce. I rarely see it in B2B. Usually they rely heavily on email or calling, and if anything, calling, I mean, I hate it personally. I hate it when I get a call. I just don't. It's so much of a disruption because that call should ring for my friends and family when they need something. That's it. And I would say even more so in the um, like I'm a reclusive guy. Let me just stay here. I'm happy. So that's my thing. Um, and I don't have all my meetings or just through the computer. So phone for me is like a sacred thing. Might be different for other people. But SMS I'll be okay with. I like the fact when you SMS me because I signed up for something, right? So I know what I bought in, and I'm comfortable enough to give you my number and get something back. I'm very happy with that. If so, to my point is, I see it rarely. Like, what's the deal that so few companies understand the secret power of SMS? Like, why isn't it out there yet? And I mean, we're helping right now, but
Yeah,
is it compliance? Is it
a lot of it.
what's
Yeah. So we'll go through a couple things on that. So for one, the reason why people prefer SMS over a phone call is because a phone call, you're dedicating a block of time. So let's say you call me and we're going to talk for a half hour. I can't do anything else for that half hour. I'm stuck. I'm stuck with you for the half hour. And we're in a world where we're multitasking, we're busy, we got a lot going on. Whereas texting, although my eyes are on it within 90 seconds, I get a very fast response rate. It's not, nobody's expecting oftentimes an immediate response for business type texting. So it's okay if, hey, I can't get to it right now. I got to finish the thing up real quick. I get back to you in 5 minutes. Or, you know what, maybe I'm in the middle of making lunch and I can quickly respond back to you. So it's not as committed going back and forth, which is why nowadays people really do prefer it. You don't have to dedicate. You can multitask and still send things back. You can voice text back to somebody while doing something else. And so we're not dedicating time like a phone call or personal or even a web meeting would do with the interaction. So you talked about why companies aren't moving to text message. Yes, compliance is certainly a part of it. and not understanding how to use it is a big part of it as well. So first and foremost, um, if you're somebody who has tried texting before from like your mobile phone and things like that, you might have had a bad experience for a couple of reasons. One, your mobile phone is not designed for doing automated flow texting and all that stuff. Also, the carriers don't want you doing business through your personal phone. Once they identify that you're doing business through it, they'll start blocking and throttling. You have to go through a company like us, an A2P 10DLC texting platform, because we actually pay the carriers to send your text messages. We're paying them for every single text message that they're sending, and they're reserving bandwidth on their network to send your text message. So that's the first part. The next thing is the misusing the type. We talked a little bit about that with email and versus text messaging, right? If you're sending a paragraph thing inside of a text message and you're sending them 5 text messages a day over the course of 2 weeks, yeah, that's you're going to get a lot of pissed off people. Nobody wants that, right? That's not what it's for, right? When you come on board with TechStrip, we actually do a one-on-one demo with you. You get on with a demo specialist. They do a Zoom call with you. They show you how to use the platform, what to do, what not to do. We have an incredibly white glove treatment with it because we want to make sure that you're getting the best use out of it and getting the best results. And with anything that's powerful and effective, it can be really good or really bad. And what we found is that people that don't really understand how to use it or don't understand the use case in their business set have had really negative experiences. But when they come over to us and they're properly trained on how to use it, what type of messaging is most effective, what type of messaging actually gets blocked by the carriers, which you might not know about, um, and then how to get the best results, how to track those results. Once you do that with TechStrip, then you start getting the results that you'd expect out of texting.
I think you said it well when we're talking about some undereducation is essentially like I think also email is such a daily driver. I might even think people are a little bit scared to send SMSs for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe they feel like it's too it's too interruptive. But to me, I'm like, no, you're not. I mean, the numbers are there. People are welcoming SMS, so why not embrace it? You know, and you see it in customer service. You see it in a lot of tools where it's like they were supposed to deliver a package for me today. They sent me an SMS that they were at the door, but I didn't open up, even though I was here. So that's a different story. The point is, it's being used in a lot of service-oriented
Yeah.
businesses. I
Because
think
they
that,
know you're viewing it, because they know you're
yeah,
instantly viewing it. Yeah. And there's another part to that too, which is back in the day when smartphones first came out, everyone wanted an app, right? Every business wanted an app. And you wanted it because it got eyes on it immediately, push notifications. But what happened? Everyone had an app and you were just bombarded with push notifications. So your provider, your phone providers had to come up with a solution where you can turn off notifications for those apps. You had to disable the notifications. Now that you have those permissions that you can turn off the notifications, it's no longer effective because if somebody's sitting there hitting you with notifications, you're going to turn it off. Also, you don't want all those apps anymore. You got 4 pages worth of apps already. You really don't want your bagel shop mobile app or whatever the hell it is, your
you only
gas,
got four. Okay, yeah,
right? So that push notification that everyone had, they had to have an app, they had to have push notification. That's no longer effective. But what has replaced that was doing it prior to it was text messaging. Text messaging is still a great way to deliver that push notification directly to somebody's phone.
I hear you, and I think you mentioned a few compliance keywords, but I think the fact that there's compliance being added into it more and more, kind of also implies the longevity of the tool, right? I think that kind of dictates the fact that SMS is here to stay because it's only getting guarded more and more. So the abuse level is going to be less, meaning that people are going to have a better, they have a higher satisfaction score of SMS. So it's still a powerful tool, and it's going to be a powerful tool. I absolutely love the fact that if you look at the numbers, SMS should be a yes, an immediate need essentially for any, whether it's B2B or B2C when it comes to sales. Because I think that's where a lot of companies hesitate to use it. But I think you've proven here, you've made the case that SMS is unequivocally a must have when it comes to a sales funnel. I mean, imagine having a flow where you're doing cold email, you're doing outbound on LinkedIn, for example, right? Which is a very common practice into account based marketing. Adding an SMS into there when you have a hello, when you have a connection, only just going to stimulate the conversation. It's only going to get you there faster. And what are we looking for nowadays in businesses? It's accelerated growth, right? I'm not talking hyper growth. Okay, ChatGPT a billion in 2 years. I'm talking, sustainable, accelerated growth. But adding an SMS in there just gets you seen so much quicker. So why wouldn't you do it? So I'm gonna tell everybody out there, hey, add some SMS into your automations, add some SMS into your funnels because you need it, and your customer is gonna, well, your soon to be customer is gonna thank you for doing it. That's it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, when I get into entrepreneurship, I'm looking for niche categories that are being that there's vast opportunity for something like automation, better customer service, something that the current people in that market are not doing. So if you're in a market where people are not currently taking advantage of SMS marketing and you're the first one to do it, I'm telling you, it's a complete game changer. We know this because we've already seen it in numerous industries that we've entered where it's a legacy market. They've been doing this since the 1950s, right? And
Yeah,
with one of them decides, you know what? I'm going to try this thing out. Let's see what happens. Why not? And the results
something
speak for
crazy can happen.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, something crazy can happen sometimes. It really happens here. Um, you hit it a little bit earlier as well. You guys have AI support as well, AI agents. You have AI analyzers. So obviously, AI the thing right now. I think it's something I love and adore as well. Let's talk about the fact, like, how do you first and foremost, how have you chosen to incorporate AI right now, and what was the motivator? And second of all, how do you see your clients adopt them? And I'm looking for business strategies for people that listen to this. I'd like to know why you did it, but also how are they actually using it? And like, there's different ends. So I'm curious about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually writing an article for Forbes right now about this, and so you'll see it coming out in the next couple of months. Yeah, but what we're talking about here is when to use AI and when not to, right? Because that's important. And one of the things that personally me that drives me nuts is irrelevancy. Irrelevancy drains me. And when you see companies using buzzwords like AI or crypto, blockchain, and they're trying to figure out ways to work it into their product because they want to have that flashy new toy inside there, that's not the right way of doing it, right? The right way of doing it is, hey, we have this problem, or we can make this better if we implement this technology. And that's really the approach that we've done with TechStrip. So from everything from our analytics, so you understanding when the best time to contact your leads, what the best type of messaging is, the durations, all that stuff. The more better information that we can get to you so that you can get the best results on our platform you possibly can. Well, that's a great use of AI, right? You being able to see your leads based on the top ones, the hottest leads, the ones that are most interested in talking to you. If you can sort those and have those ones show up the top first, well, that's going to help you close the sale faster, right? We already said if you contact that lead within 5 minutes, you increase your conversion rate by 900%. So the quicker we get you in there over your competition, the better we are. If we can help you rewrite your messages so that they get the best results, they don't get blocked by the carriers for spam, they get to who you're trying to get and get the responses you can, that's a great use of AI. So that's where we're using AI, both on the front end to help you with things like reporting, help you write your messaging and things like that, but also on the back end to help you get your messages delivered optimally and to help you sort things and stuff like that. So whenever you're building AI into your system, your workflow, whatever it is, ask yourself, why is it necessary, right? Am I just doing this to have the AI buzzword, or are there real tangible results that are helping my customers be more effective, or helping me be more compliant, or helping me visualize my data better, things like that. And that's really where AI has now helped out quite a bit. I got to be clear. I am somebody who absolutely loves AI. So I don't want to, disparage you too much on it. I record like all my Zoom conversations. I have one of those Plod note pin things on me all the time. I have it all going into a notebook LM so I can ask questions about my day and what I need to work on and stuff. So I'm very much about AI, but I am about AI for increasing my productivity, improving my quality of life, and things like that, not just implementing it as a shiny new toy. And I bring that up because I see a lot of businesses pulling AI somewhere into and they're not getting the results they want out of it because it doesn't make sense. Their customers are confused by it. They don't understand how it relates to their product. Make sure and just be cautious of that.
I hear you. I think, like, first and foremost, I'm gonna acknowledge the fact that I love the fact how you use AI. I legit, like, my producer Rafa makes, like, preps me with work for the podcast, for example, and I put it in Notebook LM, and it makes an audio podcast. And for 10 minutes, I hear everything that I need to know, and then I listen. I look into what, like, it's amazing. Like, come on, you need that productivity boost. It's great. So why not use it? And but to your point, I mean, there's this saying that another GPT rapper. There's a lot of AI companies that start. Okay, you're just going to say something AI, right? Thing AI, and that means, okay, now we have AI. We're worth $1 billion. No, you just use ChatGPT. You gave it a system prompt, and anybody can code it in a day. That's not adding value. It would be the same as saying, hey, TechStrip just released this cool new feature, and it's the most impressive use of AI. It's You just give it a text message, you say what you want to say, and it's going to change it for you. I can do that in ChatGPT. I don't need that. I mean, yes, I want to have it built into the system, into the product, but give me immersive. And I absolutely love the fact that you said, okay, we're going to look at what are we doing, what's our core business, and how can AI add a value. And the mere fact that you said that you started actually with analytics already says that AI has been embraced well, because a lot of people start with, how can I get this cool stuff? How can I oh, let's personalize a text message, right? And then it's just a shitty prompt and it doesn't really work and spits out some horrible stuff and you don't really get to use it well. And then there is, okay, let's start at the bottom, right? We have our data structure, we have our information, our insights. Let's put a layer there. Second of all, let's get the information from that layer and bind that into something else of the platform. And then we're going to see, how can we make that not only the insights, but the generative side of AI beneficial to what we're going to be creating. And that's something that I think a lot of companies are missing in terms of a vision, because we're all looking at, hey, how can I get AI? How can I get AI? But bro, you think about how you actually add value. And I think from what I'm hearing from you, whether it's just not adding the conversion percentages, that's an
Yeah.
added value, right?
Well,
Whether it's go ahead.
in marketing as well, AI can be a great tool to assist you with marketing. But one thing that's important when you're putting together a marketing campaign with any type of automation, specifically with AI, is to make sure that your voice is still being heard through your marketing message. Because as I'm sure you know this in the marketing world, there is something about your brand, about you as an individual, that separates you from your competition. And it's the reason why your customers buy from you. It's the reason why people engage with you. And if you get lazy with AI, you can have the same vanilla marketing message that everyone else out there has using AI. So you can use AI, but just make sure that your voice, your individuality is still coming through in that message, because otherwise you're not going to get the results that you have previously had, even if you get the automation features of AI.
I think the proof there I can give you from a personal experience, which I absolutely love what you're saying here, is um I started receiving cold emails. And obviously we're talking about SMS or emails or whatever, but I started receiving cold emails. Here's the thing. The ones that actually like hit, the messaging was on point. I was like, damn, I already have a solution for this, but you kind of make me think, like, you're making me rethink whether that's the appropriate solution, making me rethink if I should do business with you. And that's 2, 3 lines. Imagine if you have the luxury of not the thousands, but 100,000 or millions of SMSs, knowing which ones are open, knowing which ones work well, and instilling that into a proprietary model, for example. Now, if you haven't done this, here's a free tip, do it. But that's the power you guys have, right? And this is so much different than, okay, I'm going to use ChatGPT, a prompt, and write an SMS for me. No, like the technical savviness that you guys can incorporate in such a tool opens so much more. So I look forward to seeing what you guys are going to be doing with AI and with the tool, and I'm going to follow along because I've been introduced to TechStrip, and I think it's something that we ourselves can utilize in the future as well. So I'm very curious to try out and see and follow the journey, to be honest.
Yeah. So inside in TechStrip, we actually have a training model. It's a plus up or plus down on your messages where you're training your model based on your language. Okay. So we're not using a large language model. We actually built our AI proprietary inside of our system, but our customers train it based on their voice, their actual data. And the reason I think that's important is because you are different than your competition. And we don't just want to vanilla blend it all together. There's your customers expect a certain voice out of you. They expect certain messaging and you do things different than the other people around you. Don't lose that with AI. And that's really what I would say to everything is don't get lazy. AI is a great tool. It can increase your productivity, increase your results, your visibility of things, but you still need to be in the mix and managing it.
You just one up me. I had a great idea, and you just said no. We actually do it better, Sean. So look, and that's what we want to hear, right? We want to have great entrepreneurs building great products and making sure that the customers actually get the value that they need. And I think that's what I'm hearing here. So I'm very thankful of that. Um, Philip, we're going to wrap up. Before I go, I have a few quick questions I just want to ask you. Uh, just some rapid fire things to see what's up. So first and foremost, what's one book you recommend to entrepreneurs looking to scale smarter? Besides your own, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
What's the book that inspired you?
yeah, I know. I'm reading about some recent ones that I've had, but so here one thing that a book that I brought up is the Four Agreements.
Four Agreements.
Have you heard of this book?
Haven't heard of it.
I don't know why I couldn't think of it.
I'm
Okay,
gonna add
so
it to the
the reason I am a strong advocate for mental health, for focusing on mental
yeah.
health. And
Yeah.
I talk about it in my book and some different results that I've had. But if you want to have the best version of your company, you want to have the best results, you need to be the best version of yourself. And I've seen personally my wealth and my success in business increase when I focused on my physical and mental health.
Yeah.
In this book, The Four Agreements, it's not your typical business one. It is focusing on your mindset around it. And when you're in the storm of entrepreneurship, you're in the storm of stress, things are thrown at you, and you can have that calm and that understanding and still make the smart decisions. You are one of the rarities in business, and you will find success that other people can only dream of because majority of the other business owners will give up when they're hitting some of the storms that you find in entrepreneurship. So I know it's kind of a different book compared to some of the other entrepreneurship, but focus really on your mental health. And then I say physical health as well. So mental and physical health are some of the two greatest things you can do. Four Agreements is just it's a really good book. And it's something that I read periodically every couple of years, just kind of get a refresher on it.
Okay. Mental clarity and longevity in life is what I'm hearing. So I think that's a good focus. You mentioned success. What's your personal definition of success if you had to put it in a sentence?
Yeah. So I run a podcast called Success Is, where I'm asking people that question all the time because I'm still just trying to figure it out. What does success, mean to you? Success for me in general is being able to do, what I want, when I want, with who I want. That's a big part of what success is. But more so success for me lately has been finding joy in the moment in what I'm doing every day. And that's really what I've been focusing on lately is is finding, finding joy in every moment that I'm with, being present for the moments because, I'm middle aged now and life is flying by and I don't want to be looking back and going, yeah, I made a lot of money, but what good is that, so really right now I try to spend time. I've got a 54-acre commercial horse farm that is absolutely beautiful. We got lakes and streams and ponds running through it, and walking around that and just seeing the seasons change and the animals and hearing the fountains in the front pond and stuff like that. It's absolute heaven for me. So I always think like if I couldn't be happy in that, there's nothing that I could be happy for. And so for me, that's really success is being present for life and my family and everything like.
I started a therapy journey 2 years ago. So to me, like the stuff that you're saying, it's home. And it's something I'm appreciative of any person doing it. I encourage everybody to confront themselves with what they have in life. Be thankful also for what you have, and make sure to what you said in the beginning. Be your best. Try to be your best. It's not going to happen every day, but be happy what you have. Right? I absolutely really applaud that. I'm going to ask you, what's a daily habit you swear by to keep yourself at peak? It could be at peak performance, mental or physical. It could be journaling or workout, family dinner. Like, is there anything you?
Man, all of that. Yeah, you just listed a few. So, yeah, I work out 5 days a week. So I do 5 days a week working out for the physical health. I do daily
Any
meditation.
specifics?
What's that?
Any specifics? Gym, kickboxing, or a sport,
Yeah,
or
yes, I have gym in my basement. So Monday is leg, abs, Tuesday chest, Wednesday back, abs, Thursday's a rest day, Friday is arms, Saturday shoulder, Sunday's another rest day. So that's my 5 workout days. But then I also do daily meditation and then I do daily journaling. In the journaling, I do gratitude. Um, because we're like wired, right? We as humans are like wired to run from danger, like to not get killed by a bear or a lion or something like that, right? So finding negative things in life is easy. It's easy for humans to, right? You could look at somebody and they're a billionaire, they're a multimillionaire, they have a beautiful wife, they have this gorgeous house and stuff. You're like, oh, I envy that person. They must have no struggles. They have just as many, if not more, struggles than you do. And so it's like, what are we all run? Where are we going with this? Right? We're just going to continue having more struggles, more difficulty, and stuff like that. Then you suddenly realize it's a mindset. You have to physically focus on finding the things around you that you are grateful for because it doesn't come naturally. So for me, it's every night before I go to bed as part of my journaling, I am talking about or writing down the things that I am grateful for throughout the day. And it's not for me, it's not necessarily the monetary things. It's, a smile or a thank you from somebody or, I just a moment that really brought me a great feeling. And and taking time to actually focus on that helps tremendously with your mindset.
And you're gonna find them if you spend the time to look for them. I'm pretty sure everybody can find one of those in their day. At least one thing should make you happy, and it's gonna make you happy. And hopefully, you find more.
And you get better and better at it the more you do it. The more you focus on things that you're grateful for, the better you get at it. And it's contagious. It'll spread to the people around you when you're focusing on things that you're grateful for, you're constantly finding success. If you focus on things that bring you grief and problems, you'll constantly find grief and problems.
Well, I think on that note, that's a great a great one to end on. I'm gonna take that one with me. I really, really appreciate that. Like that's yeah, I'm gonna take that one with me. Um, Philip, let's wrap up. Thank you for joining me today. I'd just like to ask, like, tell where can people find you? Obviously, techstrip.com. We have a podcast is success, right? What are the anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So yeah, techstrip.com, you go on there. If you do sign up with our service, please, please, please take advantage of the free demo. that you get with a real human. An hour you could spend, you can schedule multiple demos with you. We don't charge anything for it. We really want you to be successful with that. We don't want you getting on and saying, "Hey, I tried out the text messaging thing. It's not for me." We really want to help you set up your campaigns and get the best results you can. So when you go to texture.com, just make sure you schedule a free demo. You can also find me on, yeah, like you said, the Success Is podcast. If you go to philportman.com, PHILPORTMAN.com, you can find my podcast. And you can also purchase my book, Three Keys to Success. Um, this is a workbook. So if you are going to go through it, understand that there is going to be some difficult like work in there. It's not one of those books you can just read and be like, okay, I got it. No, it's actually got activities that are in there. They're challenging, and it's going to take a little bit of work. But this is based on what I have found through my own life that has led to success. We talk about some of the things like the physical and mental health, but it's also things that I distilled from my conversations with successful people from all walks of life, people from hedge fund managers, stunt women, entrepreneurs, authors, and I distill some of the information in this book. And so if you want to, philportman.com, and you can find the book on there as well.
All right, thank you so well, people. philportman.com. Thank you, Phil. Techstrip.com if you want to increase your conversions, if you want to increase your sales growth or your customer care growth through SMS and make sure your business thrives. And obviously, if you want to thrive yourself, Three Keys to Success by Phil Portman. Thank you very much for everything today. You've been a wonderful guest, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Thank you.